Alrighty folks, this is Lurch from Ireland Gaming and welcome back to another episode of From the Depths. Today I am playing with the Pointer. This is the thruster craft I showed off in an episode a week or two ago now. And I did some playing about, and I did a lot of playing with lasers. And I, even after the update, which doubled the strength, like doubled the damage, but doubled the power consumption, so your lasers only have to be half as big as they used to be. Unfortunately the Pointer is just not big enough to make that work. I'm using continuous lasers now because I kind of bit the bullet and just made one for aesthetics because I think this looks absolutely badass. And I went with a primary weapon of a particle cannon instead, which is, that's a bit different. Now, in this scenario, this particle cannon is actually really small, and it's overclocked to the tits. It's like overclocked to 2, which is really inefficient, and I would like to do something about that. The rest of the craft is more or less done, so let's have a quick look. It is a thruster-powered hydrofoil craft thingy. It's got these cool little sort of hydrofoil bays on the back here. Someone on the forums did this, and I absolutely love the idea. It looks so cool to have them in like little pods off to the side. Also keeps them a little bit out of the water because we have... Oh, okay. I appear to have deleted one here by accident. Oh well. I'll fix that later. But yeah, it goes really well. It flies pretty damn fast at like 55 or so meters per second, and you can see it's a little bit wobbly, which makes it quite hard to hit. Now, this has been flying around this guy for quite a while now. Like, maybe a minute or so before I started recording. So, you would expect it to have done maybe a little bit more damage, but not a huge pile. So, as you might guess, I would like to up that a little bit, up the ante, so to speak. At the minute, though, this thing is an absolute AA destroyer. It can kill, like, fast aircraft really easily because of those awesome cannons. The particle cannons are just so good at this. Come on, you. It's probably reloading. Oh, there we go. There goes the head of the squirrel. I think I had it set up to impact now. Just to do, well, a bit more varied damage. So, because it's not a really big turret, although it does do a fair jag of damage, I mean 16,000 energy and 1100 damage, set to impact, it makes a fair mess of small aircraft, but it can still do some damage to ships. EMP is extremely effective against small aircraft, like normally one-shots them, but it's kind of crappy unless you get really big damage values against ships and stuff like that. So I've stuck it to impact now, and we'll probably use something different whenever we rebuild the turret, which is what I'm probably going to do now. It could still use a little bit of extra armoring. It doesn't take much damage, and let's have a quick look at the inside before we do anything else. Now, come on, shrinky blocks, please. Thank you. You can see an awful bunch of batteries here, just to keep the particle cannons charged, and a few, well, quite a lot of fuel. There's more fuel at the back. It is stuffed with engines. There are 2 Slab 1600s and there are 2 red lines, so that's enough to keep things going very well. You can see it's got over 9,000 power available. Over 9,000? No. And previously, when I was playing with like lots of lasers, it's kind of hard to gauge the size of things whenever it's an exploded view like this, but this entire section was filled with laser components, and the bit at the back, this whole area, was full with fuel injection engines. So I had like loads of power available, like 30,000 power, but I still couldn't get the lasers to do what I wanted them to do. Not enough damage to make it worthwhile, and that's why I decided to go with the particle cannons. So they couldn't really have come along at a better time. So yeah, that's more or less it. There's not so much to this ship. It's been pretty much complete in terms of, you know, the actual building of the ship and all that for quite a while, like about a week now, but I just can't get the weapons to where I want them, so hopefully we're going to be able to do that now. So I'm going to cut here after waffling for a couple of minutes, and I will... Well, we're going to come back and get started and rebuild the particle cannon from scratch, so be right back. Okay, so here's my thinking. We're going to cut this off about here and work from there, because I want to keep the laser part that's stuck at the bottom there, because well, it's a bit of a get to mount. Oh, there we go. That's the whole lot. You're attached to the back. Transceiver is still receiving. And I think I'm going to go with the laser optics about here. And put it underneath the particle cannon. We'll raise the particle cannon by 1 block. What do I need? I need a laser combiner. And I want a laser cutter or 2. I think I have to put this on the side, don't I? Oh no, lack of symmetry. I'm actually going to put this on the other side because I happen to know that the particle cannon thing comes down on this side and I want to utilize that. And we want laser optics. A couple of those. More of them is always better, and we'll pop one steering optic on the end. It's on a 2-axis turret anyway, so it should be pretty mobile, but that should be connected and working. So we have a rudimentary laser turret, and the damage is crap. I'm afraid. I'll go down and look at the stats here quickly. Is that it? Yeah, 432. No, that's the range. 18 damage with an AP of 18. Not a lot, but it's like 40 ticks. Like 40 every second, so it adds up a bit. But let's quickly get the particle cannon on. I think I want to mount it further forward actually, because that gives us more room behind it. Because with a 2-axis turret we don't want to go out any further than about here, because otherwise whenever it points high upwards it will have trouble aiming at the target. So you kind of want to build them forwards from the firing piece, kind of like a if you think of the turret as kind of like a handle for a handgun, it's a good starting point. Let's find the laser parts. Particle cannon. Beautiful particle cannon. Now, what way do we want to do this? I want, for a start, to have more pipes this time. I'm thinking 3. 3 would be nice. And obviously this is going to be non-symmetrical, so this is going to be an absolute pain in the ass to build, so hooray! Right, let's get started with the pipes, and these are one of the things that I've actually started using the number keys for. Look, I'm good, I'm being good. This is so handy for this because they maintain their orientation whenever you change, so you see the output point, the little bullet tip there, will always stay there whenever you change blocks, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to use this here, and we're going to extend this, and I think I'm going to go up and down just. Now, these are a pain in the hoop to build. They really are. They're an absolute pain in the ass. But you can make use of prefabs. I recommend you make use of prefabs. Let's use this one. And I like to use a 2x1. Where are you? Height 4, width 2. We'll grab this bit. Now, all of a sudden, we have a much longer particle cannon. And I'm going to use the tube terminator there, so we now have one tube with 26. Now 26 is actually more than the previous particle cannon had completely, so we're already more powerful, and we have another 2 tubes to add. So I think I'm going to add another one of these. How do I want to do this? Do I want to go sideways, like this way? Or do I want to pipe it underneath? Never symmetrical. Urgh. Now you're in the way. Okay, well, that can go there now because we can kind of work around that with this center bit. So we're nearly done. Just need to add one more. And I think I won't make you guys watch that. Because, well, it's going to be the fiddly middle bit. So let's do the fiddly middle bit. And we'll probably want to go downwards first. Alrighty, that looks like a thing. We have, how many tubes? Probably look at that one first. 26, 28, and 22. How did I get, oh yeah, the extra 2 here. Yeah, so we have a much more powerful turret now. We can probably afford to add an extra 1 or 2 here. I also can't help but feel that that would look better at the top, but that would require a whole pile more routing and require me to entirely rebuild the turret. Don't really want to do that, so I'm not going to. I kind of like it as it is here. this should be more than enough. So with this, we don't really need to change the horizontal focus because we have it on a 2-axis turret. It's got really good field of fire already, so awesome. Damage attenuation. I would like to maybe pull that down a little bit because I don't like to lose so much damage. No. I want to put it up. I don't mind losing a little bit. I also want to set the charge time a bit higher so that we know roughly what we're dealing with here. That's an awful lot of energy. It's still less than the previous one, wasn't it? No, it was, yeah, 16,000. And this needs this much to do 3 times as much damage. I like this. I like this a lot. Damage and an accuracy. Probably want to pull this down a bit, actually. Will give us a little bit better range. Efficiency and overclock. We don't really need to put this up because it's going to be just costly. Field of fire we don't want to change too much, but it's nice to pull this down a little bit so that it doesn't fire when it's at an inopportune angle, because the further it deviates from the central field of fire, the less accurate it's going to be, the less focused the beam is, so it's less accurate like that. So we want to try and force it to have it this way because we have all of this lovely sort of field of motion because of the 2-axis turret. We should really make use of it. Now, what sort of weapon type do we want? Impact would be 3 times more effective than it previously was, and EMP would be probably just about as effective because you're sending 3 of exactly the same beam to them, and EMP kind of works a little bit funny in that regard. I mean, it's better to have one sort of really big blast, and that will do more damage than lots of smaller ones because of the way that the mechanics work. It's a pretty complicated thing, so I think we're going to go with impact. Keep things simple. We might even change it to piercing, but we really have way too much damage to go with piercing. Or maybe not, but I think we should really test this. So first of all, we do the illustrious save, and yeah, we've got plenty of fuel. Let's let her go on the pointer, and we'll find something to fight. Something that's probably not going to do us much harm. Bam! Let's have a better look. Where are you? Where are you aiming? Oh, hello. Well, that ain't bad. Ah! We're moving really fast. The trouble with the laser, I guess, is that because we're at such a low elevation, whenever we're fighting ships, it tends to attack things under the water, and because lasers lose so much damage underwater, this is absolutely crap. This is really bad. Oh, that was a blast. And that really didn't do very much damage. Maybe it's time to test out piercing. Okay. Great thing about these cannons is they're extremely easy to configure. Okay. No faffing about with shells, nothing like that. Bang, we're piercing. Oh, I should probably turn the time back on. Now that is a much nicer looking stream of confetti. Wow. Hello. Oh, that went through as well. Let's see what sort of a hole we made. I see blocks are flying. That's one broken there. What was in here? Didn't break them though. How did it get all the way to here? There's a hole there. Hard to tell where the damage is coming in. Oh. So it seems to do 3 or 4 beams worth of damage per shot. Or is that a combined total of all of them? No, it's all different shots because they hit all over the place. Interesting. Interesting indeed. This isn't too bad. It's by no means killer DPS, but it's okay. I have an idea. You kind of need to get really close to do anything, stupid fun, like, for example, setting the charge time to 0.1, which makes an awesome light show, but really doesn't do very much damage. Well, it doesn't really do anything. Oop, blink. So yeah, that's a thing, but it's not a very good thing. So more tweaky time. Okay, so what I've done is, first of all, we've got our glorious death laser again, that is pretty much inert and does nothing, but it looks really cool. We have set the damage and inaccuracy up a little bit, and that gives us a little bit more damage, but we're less accurate. I have also upped the overclock just a little to 1.2, and everything else is the same. And maybe even drop that a little bit more, because it doesn't need to be higher than, you know, if you're using a 2-axis turret, I have discovered that for very fast aircraft, like anything moving over about 100 meters per second, you have to set the field of fire above about 4. So 4.5 is something I'd normally go as an absolute minimum for this, and even firing at that, it doesn't deviate terribly from, you know, your target, so it should be okay. So I want to maybe leave it at that for this, maybe a little bit higher. Nah, 4.5, it's plenty, because we have our lovely 2-axis turret to take advantage of anyway. Now, why have you stopped? Oh, it's despawning. Excellent. That's why you've stopped. So yeah, that's the settings I have now. It seemed to be working okay for that guy. Let us save up again, because it's been a little while. We've made a couple of changes. And let's get rid of that guy and spawn a new one in. Let's get a Bastion this time. Ooh, hello, you're right there. With fuel, like. Ooh, we're getting low on fuel. Now, let's get over here and see what sort of damage we're doing. We're already knocking out some fairly good chunks and it's sinking. So that means that we've taken out a big hole of the hull. Somewhere. There has to be it. Oh, there's a hole. So it hit in the hull and... oh wow, it's done a couple of big holes there. Oh, there's another one. Wow, that did a load of damage. That's definitely an improvement on what it was doing before. We like this. We like this a lot. Oh. I went straight out the other side. Nice. So now we're getting into the realms of too much damage. What I would really love with these particle cannons is to be able to select what each of the beams do. Because at the minute we've got 3 of the same setting. And if I could have a piercing one, and an EMP one, and maybe an impact one as well, because they all sort of benefit from slightly different pipe configurations. You know, EMP benefits from one big, really long pipe, and then the other ones sort of benefit from slightly smaller ones. This is about as big as you'll ever really need to make a piercing one, because anything more is kind of overkill, unless you're shooting at really, really big targets. So, you know, that one's, this one's going straight through a bulwark, or not a bulwark, a bastion already, so that's not too bad. But yeah, excellent. I think next on the cards, because I'm pretty happy with this, is all this really needs is a basic flare system to stop all of the missiles blowing it up, and we need to pretty up the turret. So I'm going to add the flare system off camera, because it's just going to be my usual basic flare design, and then I'll be back and I'll pretty up the turret quickly on camera for you guys. Okay, time to pretty this thing up. I've added a very basic flare system here. The only change I've made to what I did in my basic flare tutorial was based on Lightning Dragon's suggestion on having an ignite delay on these. It's a pretty good idea actually, because whenever you fire these, you don't want them igniting straight away. If they ignite straight away, they actually draw missiles towards your ship, so you want to give it a wee second just to get a little bit further away from your ship. I've also got an ejection angle set. That should be -20. Sorted. Glad I looked in here. And this one actually has a 6-second delay, so it burns for an extra 4 seconds afterwards. So it gives them a little bit more longevity, and they last a teensy bit longer. Also put 2 little ammo boxes at the back here, and they're literally just for the flares. But I've noticed it looks kind of like some sort of bug-eyed alien now, which I kind of like actually. So we'll stick with that. I might put a lip over the top here, just so that it looks a little bit better, because it's got a very, very flat arse, and you know, I like big butts and I cannot lie. So let's carry on with prettying this thing up. Now, I have been told that you can actually put things anywhere in front of this except for here. You're not allowed to put blocks here because that prevents it from firing, but you can put them all the way around it, which is really cool, and I think I'm going to utilize that here. So, well, let's just speedy this bit up. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good. What do you think? You think? Well, I think the only way we're going to know for sure is if we test it. So, I'm going to finish off the episode with a short combat montage. I'm also going to put this guy in the workshop for you as well. So, there'll probably be a couple more little tweaks and changes because I'm never happy with it till it's done. But, yeah, you'll be able to download it from the workshop and you can see a link in the video description below. As always, take it handy and have a bloody good day.